All right, Tim Sykes here, crazy day. Today is a day that I'm very proud of, not just for my profits, but for my commentary, for my teaching. Today is the day, a good example of why I teach. I'm a little amped up right now. I am so proud of so many students, not even just for trading, but just seeing how these stocks move, taking advantage of them. Um, Capitalizing however you can. Big account, small account, paper trading account, just learning. It is up to you. And if by the end of this video you understand that, leave a comment underneath the video saying, I understand this. 3 words, okay? This is all about you. Do not worry if someone rips on you on Twitter for saying, oh, you made $200 and someone else says that's chump change. $200 is a lot more than 99% of the world makes in a day. And most of the people ripping on you are just promoters or scammers or broke people. Okay? That is FinTwit. It's a bunch of losers. And I'm going to be honest about it because they're not. And someone needs to help you see the industry for what it is. I want you to be as successful as possible, but you have to recognize what a joke trading is. 90% plus of traders lose. If you ask traders to show every detail of their trades, not just some bullshit end of the day, end of the week profit statements, they will block you, ignore you, or make any excuse whatsoever. Most of them. I'm very proud to show every single trade. Forget about the nearly 7 grand that I made in trading. That's good. That's a good start. It was actually 10 grand. I have some unrealized profits and I still have to go over my late day trade on TTCM, but nearly 10 grand in a day, okay? But aside from the 10 grand, you can click and you can see all of the details with, my entry comments and exit comments. And the beautiful thing is if you're in my chat room, you can also see commentary ahead of time. I'm very proud of, not just alerting trades, but alerting all my thoughts. And going back here, GAXY, by the way, fantastic multi-day breakout. I missed it yesterday. I was dealing with some other crappy stocks like LCDX. Totally missed it. Props to so many of you for nailing this breakout from the 3s all the way up to 6. This is a 100% breakout. That's about as good as it gets. And what did I say when it was trading around 6? It was, wait for it. I have a lot of commentary. I said at 11:20 a.m., amazing run up I missed since I had so much trouble with it when it was a sub penny. That's true. I was trading it when it was in here and I was having trouble with it. And it never really did what I wanted, so I just kind of took my eye off of it. But I said, look at this. GAXY and TTCM both up 50%, but I have more upside belief in TTCM because it's just the first green day and a PR is coming out soon. And I'll talk about TTCM in a second. But GAXY already came out with the news. They already came out with their breakout. So it was impressive, but I'm more interested in, what's going to come. And TTCM, I guess I did a morning spike trade, but I'll go over TTCM separately because I'm watching GAXY. Notice I say I'll wait for intraday panic. It's coming. I took a lot of heat for this comment, right? This is when GAXY was at, that was 11:42 a.m. It was like right here. It was hanging around 5.8, and it showed no signs of fading, by the way. And I could be wrong on any comment at any time, but I saw it was up too much. I saw that it was, kind of heading into midday, and I was like, all right, I missed it fair and square, but I'll wait for the intraday panic. Sure enough, it was coming. Some people were like, oh, you caused the panic. No, I didn't. Okay? I didn't cause anything. The stock traded nearly 750 million shares. And the stock actually went a little higher. It actually had a fake breakout right here. You can't, I don't know if you can see it, but there was a one minute where it actually broke the previous high and then it failed. So don't just buy technical breakouts. Anyways, I'm watching, and then I'm explaining because I took heat. And so I'm like, look, it doubled in 2 days. Some of you are so desperate for big runners, you're going to get crushed being too aggressive. Don't say I didn't warn you. This is all time stamped. I'm not going back. This isn't hindsight trading. I said, could very well keep going, but learn to take profits. By the way, the T button on my keyboard is broken. As you can see, I'm missing T's in some of this. I'm not trading drunk. I'm not drinking. I just have a broken keyboard, but it's also my lucky keyboard because I'm having a fantastic run. If you look at, my trading, it's pretty cool that I made, 7 grand, but now I'm over 5.73 million also. And for the month, oh, I had the month thing popped up. I'm up like 91 grand on the month. Anyways, back to GAXY. I said, it's fading. Come on, big panic. Make it worth buying. This is at 12:07 a.m. or 12:07 p.m. TTCM is down, so I'm just watching it. But here's GAXY with a 4% drop at 12:15. This was like right here. And I was like, it's a little drop, but it's not worth, buying. And it actually had like a little bit of a stutter step right here. Again, this is why I like going over every single trade, every single tick. You need to look at these details. That's how you make millions of dollars. I'm going to include a link. If you actually want chat room access, I'm going to include a link underneath this video to get into my Tim Alerts and my challenge chat room. They're 2 separate chat rooms. I highly encourage you to get into my challenge chat room. That's where me and all my top students are. Anyways, 12:15, I said it's not panicking enough. Then 12:20, it does. I finally got the panic I've been warning about. I linked to the best pattern. I said goals to make 10 to 20%. But it was not bouncing. And that was right here, okay? It only bounced for like a minute or two, and then it started fading again. And I was like, oh, crap. This thing is overextended. Let me actually, get out. Before I had to rub it in, though, that I was right, that a panic was coming. But I sold it, a few minutes later. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to protect yourself either with a small gain or a small profit or a small loss. But you have to just be safe. Be overly safe with these overextended stocks. And guess what? That is what allowed me to buy the bigger dip. And I said bigger panic, so bigger position this time. Nearly 1 million shares here at 4.5. And I actually nailed the bottom. And it actually, it didn't bounce right away. I wasn't sure that it was going to necessarily hold this, but it was holding, this low that I put in right here in the 4.4s earlier in the morning. So, it's a solid drop off the highs. And then, 10 minutes later, I sell it at 5. It actually went up to 5.3. So I took like half a penny and, I left like another third of a penny. I really don't like it, when you're trying to trade for like a third of a penny or a quarter of a penny. It's tough to stick, a good piece of the move there. But whatever, it was a rush and I made, a few $1,000s. And I said, just nailed it to a T. I notice I keep missing the T's. One of these days I'll get a new laptop, but I underestimated the bounce. But here's where the fun of me teaching gets in. I comment on like go takeover rumors. I comment on a few other things. GAXY promoters claiming I shorted it because they see me making money. They see, I said that I was making 4 grand on it and that put me up like 7 grand on the day. And because it was going down, they literally thought that I shorted it. First of all, I don't short. I shorted like maybe 2 times in all of 2020 for a very quick amount of time, very small positions. And I would never short a 4 or 5 cent stock, ever, even in my best short selling days. That is just the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. But you can never underestimate the stupidity, incompetence, ineptitude of penny stock promoters. They are literally the dumbest people in the world, and I am so grateful for them. I hope they never go to school. I hope they stay illiterate and dumb because they create these predictable patterns. But I do have fun with them on Twitter where they just don't know that they can click and see all of my trades. Anyway, so I was also wanting to congratulate Jenny. Got to give her props. New challenge student, just passed 13,000. And she just joined my challenge like a few weeks ago, but she has really been studying hard and I got to give her props. Also, Crown V, she nailed GAXY in the mid 4s out in the 5.3. So actually did better than I did. Good job with the level 2. Also, Carly, Stock Picks, nailed VSQTF overnight. I did not even hold it that long, so she actually did better than me. I like it when students do better than me. Here's a Blackthorn, and he made, just $100. But again, whether you make $100, $500, or $1,000, or even $50,000. It's all part of the same process. You just change your position size. And remember, 90% of traders lose. And it's not because it's so hard, but because there are liars and there is so much misinformation. And I'm still wrong. I bought GAXY too soon, so I can be wrong too. But close to 10K on the day because of TTCM. And this is what I really want to talk about. This is why I love trading. Forget about, shoot. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I'm so amped up. I just closed my chat room accidentally, and I had the screenshot of what everyone was saying during my webinar. Damn it. Anyways, I gave a 2-hour challenge webinar. This is what I was so proud of. I took a screenshot, fortunately, because I know that I'm just a klutz. This was right when the webinar ended at 4 p.m. and everyone was like, thank you, awesome, thanks, Tim. And I love this, not because, I'm looking for attention, but because in this webinar, and we're going to, somehow get it out to everybody eventually, because I think it's an important webinar, even though I swore like 200 times, because again, I was just amped up. But I love, to see people learning. In TTCM, if you go to my stream, oh my God, I just closed everything. All right, here is my stream again, because I'm just such an idiot. I literally closed all the tabs. Anyways, challenge webinar begins in 2 minutes. That was around 2 p.m. I'm answering questions for 30, 40 minutes. I'm sure some challenge students are like, come on, Tim, make a live trade. No, I won't make a live trade until I see a perfect setup, okay? So if you get into my challenge, understand I'm not going to just force plays. I'm not one of these bull people who wants everyone to follow them into a trade, and that's why they live stream with 50,000 viewers and they're trading a low float stock and then they sell it 2 seconds later. That's not me. I don't want you following my alerts. I don't want you following anybody's alerts. I want you learning this stuff on your own. So TTCM, I traded in the morning because they came out with an SEC filing saying that they had, well, let me just show you the SEC filing. Hold on, let me find it. Here is the SEC filing. It was tweeted by the company COO, not shady at all. Sarcasm, very shady. It was also alerted by Stocks to Trade Breaking News. That's how I saw it. But this is the SEC filing. And the SEC filing is with Boston University. Very good. Gives them some credibility. But this is what's so interesting. So they're developing, prototypes with virtual radiology education. There's going to be, future commercialization, follow-on funding opportunities. It's good, right? But these 4 words are all that matter. And when you leave a comment underneath this video, when you say, I understand this, understand that an SEC filing very rarely gets read. If the COO didn't tweet it, if Stocks to Trade Breaking News didn't alert me, I probably never would have seen this. But because they hyped it up, I saw it. And now it becomes this, buy ahead of the news opportunity, because they're going to have a press release with more details, probably with some quotes from TTCM management and probably from somebody from Boston University. They're going to hype this up, and then that press release is going to spread. SEC filings don't really get spread. This is just a legal filing. So I love that they're basically teasing press release to follow. If you follow me, you know that I like buying stocks with upcoming catalysts. So now the upcoming catalyst is, when will they release the press release? Will it be tonight, August 26th? Will it be tomorrow, August 27th? Might it be August 28th? I don't know. But I know that people will be buying in anticipation, and then a lot of lazy people, a lot of non-meticulous traders will buy when they see the press release, not realizing that there's a whole group of more meticulous people who have seen it thanks to the SEC filing. So it becomes this anticipatory kind of setup. And I took advantage of the morning spike, but I sold it when there was a wall of sellers here at 0.013. And frankly, in the middle of my webinar, as I'm answering questions, it's spiking and it's coming back to the highs. And I'm like, oh, damn, I don't want to miss it. So I bought. And I alerted, and, this thing trades 300 million shares. And I wasn't sure how high it could go. Usually I buy these stocks, even the morning spike. I don't know, I was in it for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. I don't even know. under an hour because it couldn't really hold its spike. Mind you, it was up like 50%, and so was GAXY. This one finished up 108%. GAXY finished up 20%. So not all early morning spikers are created equal. But I will, get you access to this webinar. Actually, let's see if you want it. Like, leave a comment when you say I understand this, and leave a second comment or add to your first comment, make a compound sentence and say, I want to see this webinar. Let's see how many of you will actually watch a 2-hour webinar, because most people just want alerts. They don't even like these 20-minute video lessons. They're like, can you make these video lessons shorter? They don't understand that I need to teach you every last detail to give you a little, edge, a little odds in your favor. And TTCM just kept going. This doesn't look like much on the chart. People might be like, why are you so amped up? Like, you're what? You're making $3,000 on this? I've made more, yes. But at the same time, it's because it allowed me to analyze level 2. It allowed me to, sell not just once, but twice. I actually broke my position. I sold a third at 0.014. It kept going, or 0.0149, because I didn't think it would necessarily break 0.015. It kept going. Then it went up to 0.017, and I sold another third. I only have like 100,000 shares left. This took an extreme amount of patience for me to hold. But intraday, it's nice. On the daily chart, you can see a massive volume breakout, also a multi-day, multi-week, multi-month breakout with the upcoming news. And for me, that is just a perfect OTC first green day setup. And this is why, I love giving, weekly webinars to challenge students, whether it's live trading or Q&A. It rotates. And you challenge students, FYI, get excited next week. Kyle Williams, who's closing in on 500,000 in profits, and he locked in 35,000 yesterday, one of my upcoming challenge students. He's giving a challenge webinar next week, because it's, if you're in the challenge, you know that it's not just me giving webinars. It's me, Tim Lento, Tim Grattani, Mark Crook, and then like Jack Kellogg, who's now closing in on 850,000 in profits. He gives webinars every now and then. Kyle's now going to start doing webinars. We'll probably start having Matt Monaco do webinars. All of these students who do well, they help me teach. And I'm thankful, because as you can see, I don't have a T button on my keyboard. I'm losing my mind. I don't have much sanity left, but I'm very glad that a lot of students are getting it. Matt Monaco made like, I think $4,000 today. He made like $3,000 yesterday. He's the one who I did the boot camp with. Thank you for all the amazing feedback there. And Kyle, over 400,000, Jack over 800,000. Like, people can mock small gains all they want, but it really starts adding up, especially when you're prepared. And TTCM, I just really nailed it, from start to finish. Not just in terms of like a big dollar profit. And remember, I donate all of my trading profits to charity, so I don't even, technically profit from this kind of trading. For me, I'm more interested in people learning the patterns and seeing it. People had no idea how I could spot GAXY, in this morning panic, or I guess it was a midday panic that was coming, because I have experience, because I've seen this, and I underestimated the bounce. And TTCM, I've already sold off 2/3 of my position, so I underestimated the spike. But I like erring on the side of caution. I like teaching you to be caution, to teach you to be cautious. To be cautious. I'm sorry, I've had a long day. A lot of people were asking me about OPTI. This one also had a news-based spike. Same kind of spike initially as TTCM, right? This happened at like 1:30. TTCM began breaking out here at like 2:45. Very similar, but TTCM kept going versus OPTI, which went for a little bit and then faded. What's the difference? OPTI just announced some new distributors. It's basically like hiring some new sales guys, not exactly groundbreaking stuff. TTCM, press release to come. That is the difference. That's why you need to learn the details. And it's not enough just to know some basic patterns, some basic rules. Learn from every trade, learn from missed trades, learn from successful trades. Part of the reason why I was more aggressive with holding my TTCM into the close, because this strong first green day has been working. GAXY had a strong first green day, okay? This was Tuesday. and it led to a big spike before, the drop. That's probably what TTCM will have. My guess is it'll probably gap up, maybe to the 1.8s, 1.9s, 2s. We'll see if there's a press release. Maybe spike to 2.5, maybe even 3. I don't know. But then it'll probably come down. So then TTCM becomes another potential dip buy. Once you start learning the patterns, it's really good. What was the other one? VSQTF. Really weird tickers lately. VSQTF was my pretty solid winner here. I was buying it into the close, very similar to TTCM, this big late day run up. I was buying it in here in the mid 40s, sold it in here in the high 50s, closed at 65, went up to 82 this morning. So, I took not even the meat of the move, just some of the move here on VSQTF. But because VSQTF worked out so well, because GAXY worked out so well, that gives me more confidence in TTCM. And OPTI, I wisely avoided because, again, they just hired a distributor. And if you look at the chart, it also has tried a few first green days and it's been tough. So you have to look at all these different stocks. It's not enough just to know one stock. Know the patterns, know them inside and out, know all the different options. Even then, you're not guaranteed success. I can still be wrong, but hopefully I can get you thinking properly, learning on the right path. And again, I'm really glad to be able to share all of this transparently in the chat room and with trades where you can see my exact position size. This is nowhere near best case scenario. Like, I'm spending my time writing out the commentary, spending my time making video lessons. I'm answering questions in my challenge chat. By the way, if you ever want Q&A with me, get in the challenge chat. This is why I do Q&A webinars. Everyone's messaging me questions all over the place. Oh, just one question, just one question. Multiply your little wish times thousands of people, okay? I know I put myself in this position, but this is why I have specific times for questions during my Q&A webinars. Or, today's webinar started out as Q&A and then I found a solid trade, so I stuck with that. But please do me a favor, get in my challenge and ask me questions there. That way, not only will I answer you, but I can illustrate it with examples. I can give charts. It's actually really good. And then it's all archived. Challenge students now have over 1,000 webinars. That's right, challenge students. Most of you are not searching or watching the archive webinars. Tim Grittani alone has over 70 archive webinars. Let me just show you, in case you guys don't realize this. The challenge, hold up. I'm all over the place tonight, as you might be able to hear, but look at this. Where are webinars? For the challenge, right here. These are all webinars on demand. All of them. And they're organized by ticker. Sometimes they're organized by people like Crook. Mark Crook has his own, little ticker. Tim Lento has his own ticker. Tim Lento's closing in on like 600,000 too. Here's Michael Good with his ticker. Tim Grittani, by the way, is taking August off. He's made $3 million this year, and he's like, yo, I'm out for a little bit. And that's awesome. That's what I want you to be able to do. I want you to make $3 million. Here's a Grittani webinar. This was on 6:30, by the way. Okay, this was a very special webinar. Only 991 views. Absolutely pathetic. He made nearly 300 grand this day on CYDY. And how did he celebrate? He gave a webinar to challenge students. And yes, it has a few hundred more views than others. Some of them like 500. Here's Jack Kellogg's webinar. Jack Kellogg's webinar has 1,100 views. FYI, guys, Jack Kellogg has only made 800 grand total. Tim Grittani in this webinar explains how he made 300 grand in one day. And I know he's trading with a bigger account, but once upon a time he wasn't. If you go back through Grittani's early trades, because he listens to me and he actually followed the rules and showed every single detail of his trades, you can see early on in his trading career, he would have a quote, trading implosion, and he lost $12 on a trade in his early days. He started with 1,500, now he's over 13 million. So it's up to you whether you want to learn. You guys have so many resources Fortunately, we got a great live trade in today's challenge webinar. Fortunately, I was giving really solid commentary in all chat rooms about waiting for GAXY today. And then, you challenge students, you guys have a lot of access to archive webinars. I mean, just click on Gritani and you can see all of his webinars. These are all webinars. Look at them. They have roughly 1,000 views. It's pathetic. These should have, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 views. I don't know how many times you can watch a webinar, but you really should be watching all of these. These are all Tim Gritani webinars. So in case you think that I suck, which some people do, that's fine. I don't take it personally. I just want you to succeed. And the more you watch me, the more that you watch Tim Gritani, the more that you watch Tim Lento, Michael Good, Mark Crook, like you start learning what it actually takes to make it. So I'm going to include a link to the challenge. Just get in there and you challenge students, study up. Everyone else, I'll see you in the chat room tomorrow.